In my previous life, he married me because of his mentor's insistence, but I'm totally indifferent to him. Until he was killed by his rival. I found the love letter he wrote to me. In his belongings, every word is filled with pain. Falling in love with someone he can't have. When I opened my eyes, I went back 3 years ago, the year we got married. I rushed into his room and saw his injured arm. I asked Ethan with red eyes, "Does it hurt?" He was stunned. Then he closed his eyes helplessly and said sternly, "Why are you rubbing salt into my wounds?" In my past life, until I died. Ethan's love letter mocked online. Not only did his competitors take over his business empire, and publicly humiliated him, as a man who is not loved, defend him. I had a car accident on the way to the TV station, and died tragically, in the last moment of my life. My last wish is that Ethan never sees me. Next life, when I woke up from the darkness, the lingering pain remains. I could vaguely hear voices of congratulations coming from all around me. Happy first anniversary, Mr. Carter and Ms. Warren. Ethan and I have been married for a year. I raised my eyes, but the blinding white light forced them to close. After a while of tinnitus, I realized I was at a party. The atmosphere is lively, the sound of clinking glasses and mingling. Ethan looked much younger and sat next to me coolly. His wounded hand dripped blood along its pale fingers. The knife fell to the ground. A waiter apologized nervously. "I'm sorry, Mr. Carter. I didn't hold it correctly." A wave of sadness came over me. I couldn't help but shout out his name, Ethan. Across the room, a familiar face gave a knowing smile. "Miss Warren, I stand up for you." "How do you think me?" William Song, Ethan's rival, and the people responsible for his death. In my previous life, my body trembles when the memory of this day comes to mind. At this party celebrating our first anniversary, I had an argument with Ethan and said cruelly, "Talking to you makes me feel like a dog." Dinner. William, intentionally causing harm to Ethan's right hand. Out of courtesy, I told the waiter coldly, "I hate blood. Please clean it up." Just that one sentence made Ethan misunderstand me deeply. He just wiped the blood off the table in front of me and endured the pain. Continue negotiations. Untreated wounds left his once intact hands. Permanent damage. From now on, it will hurt when it rains. And finally, the weakness that caused him to lose his life. Now watching Ethan, expressionless, he wiped the blood away with a napkin. In front of me, my heart is twisted in pain. Without thinking, I pushed his arm away and stood up suddenly, shouting William's song. "Explain yourself." My outburst shocked everyone. The room quieted down. Ethan was stunned. He turned his dark eyes towards me. A look of pain flashed across his face. Then he quickly covered it up with indifference. He closed his eyes and said, "Vivian, there is no need. If you think I'm dirty, I'm going to change clothes." Wait, he thinks I think he's dirty. I quickly grabbed his sleeve. Give up. All the pride I held onto in my previous life. Under his confused gaze, I picked up a glass of water angrily and threw it at William. Apologized to my husband. The whole room quieted down. Stand in front of Ethan and protect him. I glared at William under my palm. Ethan's wrist trembled slightly due to pain. Tonight, he was injured while trying to make a deal. Because I said before we got married, I want a stable life. William's smile disappeared. He wiped the water off his shoulders. His expression turned gloomy. "Miss Warren, don't you hate Ethan the most? What's the sudden behavior?" The warmth of Ethan's wrist feels real beneath my palm. "Let me settle down. Don't even look at him." I wrapped his wound with a napkin and said, "This is just between me and my husband. You won't understand." William's face became even gloomier. At that moment, I remember the mean things he said to Ethan after his death. In my previous life, I am overwhelmed with anger. I started throwing everything I could get my hands on at him. A few minutes later, William stood there, soaking wet. Soup dripped from his head. His face was obviously scratched. "Get Ethan out of the hotel." I walked into the drizzle. The spring rain falls quietly. World peace around us. I am still immersed in the joy of rebirth. Ethan suddenly pulled his hand out of mine. His voice is sharp enough. No one around. I turned around and met his cold and beautiful eyes, temporarily lost in their depths. It's hard to believe this is the same person. "Write me a love letter secretly." Ethan avoided my gaze and said calmly, "I have another meeting. You should go home." Standing in the drizzle, his exquisite, and the salient features are partially hidden. In the shadows, wear and dullness, blood on the corner of mouth, and his chin. It brought him tragedy, yet fragile beauty. When I held his hand, my eyes turned red uncontrollably. When I speak, my voice is tinged with sobs. "Ethan, I'm not going to argue with you anymore. Your hand is injured. Let's go to the hospital." "Okay." He raised his eyes and looked at me in disbelief. There was a trace of struggle in his eyes, soon replaced by indifference. "Sneer," he said. "What are your plans this time? Another way to torture me? Want to rub salt into my wounds?" In my past life, I was not kind to Ethan. He is calm and reserved. Natural alienation. Our marriage was arranged by his mentor. I guess he resents me. Over the years, we are just a pair of resentment. Stranger. Until he died, I realized My feelings for him are deep in my bones. The night wind makes me dizzy. I can't bear it anymore. Grab his arm. I cried loudly. Ethan, please don't die. The man who has always been cold to me. Sudden freeze. His expression was stiff. In an instant, the calmness in his eyes melted. Finally, he postponed the meeting. Okay, I'll go, he said in a fatalistic tone. In the hospital, Ethan remained silent as the doctor tended to his wounds. The whole time, I asked the doctor nervously if the injury will leave permanent damage. When I talk, my emotions get out of control, crying frequently. After all, in the previous life, Ethan's death has me on the run, trying to defend his reputation, enduring countless ridicule and humiliation. Those memories left scars that I can't erase. Ethan's eyes were fixed on my face throughout the treatment process, like want to know what I'm thinking. After the doctor cleaned the wound, and take off your gloves, he turned to Ethan. Mr. Carter, your injury is not serious. But your wife seemed shocked. Ethan's expression froze. He whispered an apology. Sorry, it's my fault. I've been arguing with her. The doctor smiled knowingly. Be tolerant of her. She seems to be attached to you. Ethan's hand moved slightly, covers light bite marks. I left during our previous argument. Is everything all right? He asked the doctor calmly. Yes, no problem, the doctor replied. When we left the hospital, my eyes are swollen from crying. I held Ethan's bandaged hand tightly, refusing to let go. When his assistant pulled up in front of us, he hesitated. Mr. Carter, regarding tonight's meeting. It's late at night. The work schedule is so tight. No wonder Ethan eventually fell ill. In my previous life, instinctively, I'm closer to Ethan, clutching his arms like a frightened child. I was afraid to sleep alone, I whispered. His face froze instantly. His dark eyes became unreadable. Vivian, do you know what you were talking about? He asked, his tone cold. I never dared to approach him like this before today, not to mention being so clingy. But now I bury my head in his chest, silently vowed not to let go, until he agrees to go home with me. Eventually, Ethan gave in. Rolls Royce. Slide smoothly into the quiet villa area. Familiar house. Slowly calmed my anxious heart. Ethan is alive. We are home. Holding his warm hand tightly, I started planning how to warn someone he needs. Careful. As we arrived at the door, someone suddenly called me. Vivian, didn't you promise to celebrate your birthday with me? Standing under the street light, the man's teardrop mole reflects the light, emphasize his striking features. There is always a hint of charm on his handsome face, now with a hint of disappointment. That's Ryan, my childhood friend, the only person who stayed with me in my previous life, until the end. At that moment, I remember I promised to meet him earlier this evening. I postponed my promise due to Ethan's injury. Ethan meets Ryan for the second time. His whole body froze. He let go of my hand coldly. My heart sank. He misunderstood again. In my previous life, I've read Ethan's love letters, so I know he has. I always believed I had feelings for Ryan. I tried to explain, but Ethan avoided my touch. His rejection hurts more than any words. Ethan glanced at me and said coldly, I have another meeting. Go home first. Don't wait for me to catch up. He turned away before I could catch up. Ryan gently grabbed my arm. Vivian, he whispered, the cake is ready. Follow me. Watching Ethan disappear in the distance, my anxiety suddenly flared up. Ryan, it's not even your birthday. What are you doing? His smile froze for a moment, but he recovered quickly. I just can't stand him being so cold to you. What happened to you today? I don't have the patience to explain. Holding out my hand, I asked, where is the information I requested? Ryan's expression darkened a little. Ethan doesn't appreciate it at all. Why are you still helping him? In my previous life, I'm terrified that Ethan will suffer. I asked Ryan to investigate William's songs, and, secretly, put the information under Ethan's pillow. Ethan may never read it. Finally, he was betrayed and lost everything. I'll give it to him personally this time. Ryan reluctantly handed me the folder, but suddenly grabbed my hand. Vivian, he said with a faint smile, I have a stomachache tonight. Can't you be with me? His words are exactly the same as mine in my previous life. At that time, I was frightened by his pale face. I rushed him to the hospital. The doctor told me he was just hungry. Need to eat. This time I pulled my hand back and said firmly, find a place to eat. I have important things to do. Without waiting for a reply, I hurried home. I thought at least one light was on in the house, but the villa was shrouded in darkness. There was only a faint light coming out of the study. Guided by memory, I walked to the door and saw Ethan. He did not attend the meeting but sat at his desk. Write something. His posture looks tired. Bandage on hand, lightly stained with blood. But he didn't seem to notice. My heart is painfully tightened. I pushed open the door and asked sharply, Ethan, what are you doing? He was stunned, startled, and looked up at me. I rushed forward and snatched the pen from his hand. Do you want to completely destroy your hand? I scolded. He seemed surprised that I was back. After a brief hesitation, he covered the paper he was writing on. His expression is unpredictable. He remained silent and stared at me. I have a bad temper. Ethan, are you crazy? Did you forget what the doctor said? Which is more important? Your hands or your work? Do my words mean nothing to you? After I asked a series of questions, he had a rare blank expression on his face. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I don't think you'll come back. His apology caught me off guard. Calm my anger. Does he think I'll be with Ryan? My heart softened as I carefully untied his bandages and replaced it with a clean. There's nothing between me and Ryan, I whispered. Ethan, the person I like is you. The air around us seemed to be still. His breathing became weak and his eyes became deep. After I treated his wound, he picked up the remaining bandages and walked out, as if trying to escape. I walked up to him and blocked his way. My voice trembled as I admitted it. Ethan, I said, I like you. The night is quiet. There is darkness around us. Ethan's dark eyes seemed bottomless. His voice was hoarse when he said, Vivian, let's stop here for tonight. If you've had enough, go to sleep. He doesn't believe me. Feeling hopeless, I took out the folder Ryan gave me and handed it to him. This is William's song information. I want you to defeat him. Ethan's eyes fell on the thick folder. There was a hint of bitter self-mockery in his eyes, but the response I expected did not come. I grabbed his sleeve. My voice was filled with frustration. Why don't you believe me? Do I have to take some drastic measures? Acknowledge your feelings. Biting lips. My cheeks flushed as I reached for the tie of my skirt. I trembled and leaned against him. I'm serious about you. In the darkness, Ethan's body became stiff. His presence. Suddenly, a sharp and oppressive energy emanated. His big hands on my waist, accompanied by the faint sound of cloth tearing. I felt a chill as my skirt slipped from my shoulders. Before I could react, he pushed me onto the sofa. His eyes burned with unfathomable darkness. He came closer and held my chin tightly with his fingers. His voice was low and rough. Vivian, for him, I am even willing to go this far. Ethan looks angry. My eyes are filled with tears. Ethan, it hurts. He smiled coldly. There is no warmth in his voice. If you lie to me, you deserve the pain. I was shaking all over and clutching his shirt tightly. I didn't lie. Ethan is visibly angry, pressing his rough hands on my slender neck. His voice was sharp and deliberate. That folder is totally fake. What is your plan? You want me to follow it. Death by William's song, so that you and Ryan can live happily together forever. I was stunned by his words. What are you talking about? He sneered. Ryan is William's song's half-brother. You knew it all along, didn't you? I opened my eyes wide in disbelief. I swear, I didn't know this in my previous life. Now the mystery begins to clear up. When I realized this, my face turned pale. In my previous life, Ethan's death was not just because of William Song's conspiracy, partly because he thinks I want him dead. Tears streamed down my face. I ignored Ethan's anger and hugged him tightly. Sorry, Ethan. I'm sorry. He let out a derisive laugh. Enough. Stop playing dumb before I lose control. Leave me alone. I clutched his shirt tightly. My knuckles turned white. I won't leave. I told you I would never leave you. The atmosphere in the room became increasingly tense. Like the calm before the storm, Ethan's eyes were filled with hatred and despair. It's like he just wants to destroy me. At that moment, do you think I can't do anything to you? I looked back at him and met his eyes silently. In his dark eyes, I saw an obsession that was getting more and more crazy. My body is shaking, but I refused to back down. Instead, I put my arms around his neck and whispered, "Too cold. Let's go to the bedroom." Next moment, Ethan turned me over and pressed me on the sofa. His hot body trapped me in a small corner. Overwhelmed my senses. His cold, sharp voice cut through the air. "Vivian, you started this. If you try to escape now, I will kill you with my own hands." I've never seen the side of Ethan before. Totally out of control. It feels like I'm drowning in a sea of fire, desperately grasping at the lifeline. Fear and tension consume me. As the night deepens, Ethan's big, rough hands intertwined with mine. He held on so tightly. I feel like my fragile bones are about to break. He said hoarsely, "Vivian, you have no choice." My crying turned into intermittent sobbing, but the cruelty of the night turned my protest into a silent plea. The wind blew the curtains. The stars outside are twinkling. At one moment, a meteor streaked across the sky, leave a dazzling mark. I looked at the moon outside helplessly. I burst into tears and begged for mercy. But Ethan responded with a harsher punishment. "Bad women must pay the price," he whispered. The next morning, when I finally woke up, my legs are weak and the bed next to me is empty. The chaos of the previous night, carefully cleaned. There is no trace of what happened. It's like everything is a dream. I picked up my phone and found several missed calls. All from Ryan. They were made late at night, and I haven't heard them yet. He even sent me a text message. "I received your ticket. I said your VIP seat will always belong to me. Check the calendar." I suddenly remembered. I'm going to give a violin concert next week. I sent the only central VIP ticket to Ryan because I thought Ethan wouldn't come. Panic set in when I browsed my information. But Ethan didn't send me anything. Does he know I called Ethan? But his secretary replied, "Ms. Warren, Mr. Carter is in a meeting. Can't answer your call now." I was so frustrated that I snapped, "Okay. Tell Mr. Carter I don't feel well." There was silence on the other end of the phone for a while. Then came Ethan's cold and intimidating voice. What's wrong? I curled up in bed and whimpered softly. I fell when I got up earlier. My legs are too weak to stand properly. The call ended abruptly, the cold beeping sound ringing in my ears. He must be very angry. Even pretending to be shy didn't work on him this time. I calmed myself down for a while. Then he grabbed Ethan's shirt casually, then strolled downstairs to the living room. I called Ryan back, and he answered immediately. Vivian, he said with a smile. Why didn't you answer my call last night? I asked, stroking the picture of us on the shelf. We are best friends, right? Ryan's laughter came from the phone. Of course. Don't you remember being in the orphanage? Do you dream of becoming a violinist? I want to be a superstar. We promised that we would be together forever. Now hear these words. Makes me feel extremely uneasy. Have I ever really known Ryan's true self? Over the years. In my previous life, Ryan helped me organize Ethan's belongings. After his death, among them are those love letters. Only the two of us have seen. They were eventually leaked to the public in some way. I thought it was because of the paparazzi's constant pursuit, but now I'm not so sure. Ryan is still talking. Did you receive the gift I sent you? I took a look at the gift boxes, stacked in the corner. I haven't opened it yet. Arrived a few days ago. A large stuffed toy. I vaguely remember. On a stormy night when Ethan was away. I used to be obsessed with toys like this. Breaking through the darkness. I mumbled something to Ryan, then walked to the box, and opened it. There is a big, furry white bear with shiny, a pair of black eyes, looking cute and innocent. In my previous life, this bear has always been my companion, but now it makes me uneasy. I decided to put it away, then started dragging it towards the storage room. Before I could get in, the door suddenly opened. Standing there is Ethan. The unexpected return home. I froze, wearing only his oversized shirt, clumsily dragging the stuffed bear behind me. Our eyes met. His gaze briefly turned to the bear. Before you come back to me. His expression was cold and unreadable. You're back, I stammered, trying to sound casual. Just came to pick up something, Ethan replied. He walked past me expressionless. Don't take another look. I kicked the bear aside and grabbed his arm. Ethan. My voice trembled as I said. He froze and closed his eyes, as if trying to suppress his frustration. Vivian, that's enough. I bit my lip and leaned against him. My legs are weak. I can't stand it. Ethan suddenly turned around and hugged me. His voice was full of sarcasm. I don't care what game you're playing. If you want to keep Ryan's gift, go ahead. But remember, I told you were mine. Don't try to escape. My face turned red when I heard his words. Despite his sharp tone, I felt my heart soften. Ethan, I love you so much. I blurred out. He paused, shocked by my sudden confession. Take courage. I looked at him with wide, innocent eyes. Ryan gave me a gift. Why don't you give me anything? Ethan kept silent with his lips tightly closed. Under his cold gaze, tears welled up in my eyes. God knows you married me, but you don't love me. I might as well die. A few minutes later, the stuffed bear was unceremoniously thrown out the door. I sit by the window. Now, I have a brand new diamond necklace around my neck. Aren't you going back to work? I asked hesitantly. Ethan did not answer. Instead, he leaned over and silenced me with a kiss. It's still daylight. I protested feebly, but he ignored me. Get me out of the door. Back upstairs to the bedroom. When we are done. I once wore a necklace on my bare neck, bracelets and even anklets. He insisted on holding my ankles tightly. I touched the jewels in amazement. When did you buy these things? Ethan, still looking serious, let me sit on the windowsill. That's when I realized things were getting out of control. But it's too late. I cried and cursed him, calling him a bastard. Ethan's voice was low and full of suppressed emotions. Vivian, being treated like this by a bastard. Isn't this exactly what you wanted? Ethan has always been cautious. Don't want to believe the sweet words I said, but can't resist my closeness. But I have patience this time. Time slowly melts the ice in his heart. Lately, people around me have noticed a change. They say I'm lovesick. In between my violin rehearsals, I'll sneak out and call Ethan, squirming nervously in her seat like a shy schoolgirl. During one such call, Ethan sighed wearily. I'm in a meeting. If you have something to say, speak up. I call him dozens of times a day. He always sounds indifferent, but he still answers every call. Give me the courage to keep going. Will you come to my concert next week? I asked. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a long time. Don't give him a chance to refuse. I continued. I'll save the best seat for you. I'm determined to make this a big deal. A famous violinist like me. On stage. But my new husband doesn't seem to care. If Ethan hadn't shown up, I'll be the laughingstock of everyone. My reputation will never be restored. Ethan, you're going to destroy me. I exclaimed. He interrupted my rant coldly. Okay, I'll do that. He hung up the phone. My manager stood nearby, looking shocked. Miss Warren, you and Mr. Carter. Looks like a good relationship. He must be emotionally stable, right? Thinking of Ethan's indifference, I felt a sense of disappointment. Yes. Very stable. Stable enough, he doesn't want to say. There is only one word for me. Oh, by the way. My manager smiled and added. The event organizer said. They can open private VIP suites on the second floor for your husband. Don't worry, this is the best view of the whole venue. Tomorrow night, you will charm him like a goddess. In my previous life, my violin recital was a great success. Surrounded by flowers and thunderous applause, I bowed for the last time in the audience. Ryan sat in the front row. Look at me with tenderness and admiration. That moment even became a hot topic online. Although I have publicly clarified, people insist on pairing us together. No one knows that behind all the admiration, I sit alone backstage, crouching under the curtains. I sent Ethan a message in the chat window. Did you see my performance? But after hesitating for a long time, I still didn't send it. Like a child longing for love, I try to stand in the spotlight, make noise and seek attention. But the person I have a crush on won't even look at me. The concert is like my past life. The crowd was crowded and the atmosphere was lively. Many people come just because of my name. The atmosphere reached a climax when Ryan arrived. His appearance drove the audience into a frenzy. Vivian, you look amazing tonight, Ryan said as he walked forward with a bouquet of flowers in his hands. Now we know his relationship with William. I feel an inexplicable uneasiness. Thanks. I'll give you a brief answer. Ryan's shining eyes rest on my face. It's like he's waiting for me to say more. I just nodded. The show is about to start. Wearing an elegant dress, I stand at the center of the stage. My eyes instinctively search the VIP suite on the second floor. The seats were dark and empty, with no sign of Ethan. Disappointment creeps in, but I shake it off quickly. It doesn't matter. As the stage lights dimmed, a spotlight shines on me. I walk to the microphone. My voice is soft and steady. Tonight, besides my violin performance, I have an important announcement. I know many of you are curious about my personal life. Over the years, even urged me to get married during the holidays. The audience burst into laughter. Some people started shouting Ryan's name. I leaned closer to the microphone and smiled. In fact, I'm married. I raised my hand, show off the dazzling diamond ring on my finger, eyes fixed on the dark second-floor suite. I continued, Mr. Carter, I love you. There was a gasp and a murmur among the crowd. There were whispers in the room. Who is Mr. Carter? Probably Ethan Carter. Famous businessman. No way. I thought she was with Ryan. Did we send the wrong person? In the noise, I lifted up my violin. Ethan, I said with a smile, tonight's show is for you. It's called Silent Love. I wrote this when I was young, inspired by my feelings for you. At that time, I'm too proud and too sensitive to express myself. That's why we missed so many years. The haunting violin melody resounded throughout the hall, with bittersweet longing and tenderness. I didn't know at the time that the suite now has a tall, broad numbers. He stood quietly, his eyes fixed on the stage. In the dim light, his eyes softened, reflecting the figure of women in the spotlight. His heartbeat is out of control, hitting his ribs, pain and joy intertwined, all over the body. Vivian, he whispered hoarsely, raised his hand, as if touching me on the stage. His fingers are in the air. Slight tremor, as if afraid that the scene will disappear. Like a sailor enchanted by the sirens, he is willing to risk everything, even though I know the danger. As I looked around at the audience, confused by his absence, his voice was strained with excitement. I believe you for the last time, but if you lie to me again. His fingers clenched in the air. There was desperation and determination in his eyes. I won't let you go. After the show, I rushed backstage. My heart beat faster. Is Ethan here? I asked breathlessly. My manager laughed. Yes, he is here. Mr. Carter didn't miss a moment. I rushed out of the banquet hall. I trembled slightly at the thought of seeing him. Did Ethan see the gift I prepared for him? Will he hug me? And tell me how great I was tonight? But after searching the entire site, I can't find him anywhere. At some point, Ryan appeared beside me. Vivian, were you acting just now? He asked. His voice was sharp. I avoided his touch and said, I have urgent things to do. Ryan grabbed my hand. His expression seemed calm, but his grip betrayed a hint of desperation. He still has that charming smile on his face. When did you and Ethan become so close? I pulled my hand back. Why shouldn't we get close? We got married. Ryan's expression froze. His handsome face was hidden in the shadows. After a while, a faint smile appeared on his lips. Really? But he seems to be gone. That's impossible. Ethan won't leave, I said firmly. Suddenly, my manager rushed over. Miss Warren, I have a question. Someone switched the gift you prepared for Mr. Carter. I found this in the background. She handed me a sealed bottle of champagne, lying in the trash can. Its packaging is missing. This is the champagne I picked for Ethan. He has seen gift boxes before. He must have known it was for him, if the champagne is in the trash. So, what's in the gift box? Ryan whispered. Laugh at. Vivian, I have a great show for you tonight. I turned to him, seeing his eyes filled with disturbing madness. My heart sank. Ryan smiled grimly. Guess what Ethan will think when he finds out? You let him here. Just drug him with champagne. You're so well prepared. Do you think he will still love you? A huge buzzing sound filled my mind. Drown everything. What did you put in his drink? I asked with a pale face. Ryan's voice is very soft, almost random. Right now, he's probably sleeping with some woman, tangled in the sheets. I don't know how. I managed to run out of the banquet hall. I called Ethan several times, but his phone was turned off. In desperation, I went straight to the front desk. I'm Ethan Carter's wife, and I say, my voice trembles. Please tell me which room he is in. The receptionist gave me an apologetic look. Sorry, ma'am, we don't have a record of Mr. Carter in our system. My manager has called, with event organizers, trying to track down Ryan. Suddenly, it occurred to me. I grabbed her arm. My voice trembles. Not him. Let them check William's song. Ryan's arrogance. From his faith. No one knows his relationship. William's song. After a while, I received a room number. I grabbed my skirt and ran through the dark corridor. My heels tapped the floor. When I arrived at the door, I hit it with all my might. Ethan, open the door. The door opened gently. A piece of glass flew past my ear, hit the wall behind me. A rude voice roared, "Get out of here," followed by a woman's scream. I rushed into the room and found it in chaos. Woman's skirt slips off her shoulders. When she got up from the floor, reach out for Ethan. I was so angry that I grabbed her hair and dragged her to the door, despite her protests. "Who are you? Let me go," she screamed. Smack. I slapped her on the face to quiet her down. When I finally saw her clearly, a chill ran down my spine. That's Lynn Hunchua, a woman who followed Ryan silently in my previous life. Have feelings for him. I even helped her once. So this was definitely Ryan's doing. By this time, Lynn Hunchua couldn't recognize me anymore. She lies on the ground. There was defiance in her eyes. "Ethan touched me. I want to call the police," she yelled. My manager put his hand over her mouth. "If you like calling the police so much, then call the police. We'll explain everything to them right away." Ethan's security team arrives with the police. Lynn Hunchua's defiant gaze eventually gave way to fear. Ethan's secretary looked at me with concern. "Miss Warren, how is Mr. Carter?" I glanced at Ethan. His figure slumped on the bed. He looked pale but calm. "He'll be fine," I said firmly. "I'll stay with him till morning." As soon as the door closed, everyone left. I fell to the ground, completely exhausted. Before I could even catch my breath, a big hand suddenly grabbed my neck, pulled me up from the ground. My back banged against the door. The pungent smell of alcohol invaded my senses. Ethan glared at me with bloodshot eyes. His eyes were filled with anger. "Get out," he roared. His voice is rude. The pain swept over me. My eyes are filled with tears. When I have trouble breathing, "Ethan, it's me. I'm trying to control myself." Almost inaudible. Hearing my name seemed to break his anger. Moment. There was a trace of struggle in his eyes. "Vivian," he whispered. His tone was uncertain. "Yes," I whispered. Try to soften my voice. I slowly reached out and touched his forearm. My fingers are shaking. "It's me. I'm here to see you." A blush appeared on Ethan's pale and handsome face, but his expression was confused. "Vivian wouldn't do this to me," he said hoarsely. His voice was filled with pain. "She doesn't love me. She is always indifferent and distant. Never like this." I watched helplessly as his mood fell into a slump again. His fragile composure was broken. I tried desperately to change my tone. Slap violently. "Is this how you treat me?" His body froze. His eyes were filled with unshed tears. "Look at me." Anger and sadness mixed together. Gather all my strength. I pried his hands away from my neck. Ethan flinched as if he were on fire. His hand pulled back. As I gasp, fresh air rushes into my lungs. Cover my throat. Ethan leaned against the wall. He lowered his head. He closed his eyes. The dim light cast a shadow on his face. It's covered in blood. Give him a pained, broken look, as if he had been greatly humiliated. Coughing, my voice becomes hoarse. "Ethan, get on the bed. Don't make me repeat myself." His lips trembled slightly, and then he whispered, "Okay." I breathed a sigh of relief and exhaled quietly. One way or another, I just need him to listen to me now. Ethan knelt beside the bed and slowly lowered himself. His breathing is irregular. His red and swollen ears, and the faint pink on his neck and collarbone. It showed how much he was struggling. He was obviously in pain. But because I was there, he bit his lip and said nothing. Refused to show weakness. My heart completely softened. I gently pulled his tie to coax him upwards. Ethan followed my movements obediently. Blank expression. His eyes were fixed on my face. "Don't move," I whispered, kneeling there. I carefully untied his tie, feeling the heat from his breath. His skin burned at my touch. Wherever your fingers touch, there is a trace of warmth. Turn off the lights. I tied his wrists to the headboard with the same tie, to prevent him from harming any of us. In his disoriented state, Ethan, his voice broke the silence with a hint of pleading. He tilted his head back, revealing a weakness that touched my heart. Seeing his helpless look, I felt an urge to play a prank on him. I leaned over and bit his lips gently. "Mr. Carter, why don't you yield to me?" I joked. "No," he whispered. He closed his eyes. "Vivian, don't." I smiled faintly, whisper on his lips. "It's me, Vivian. I love you." The tension in his body seemed to ease. It seemed as if my words confused him. He remained silent. His breathing was shallow but controlled. First of all, Ethan is obedient. In the dark, his calm, controlled breathing was unbearably alluring. Vivian, please don't. He pleaded softly. What? I asked jokingly, continuing to tease him, pleased with his reaction. But once the tie is loosened, the balance has shifted. His restrained rationality collapsed. The beast in him broke free. I gasped in horror. Ethan, you bastard. Don't. I tried to push him away, but to no avail. He can't hear my voice anymore. In the dark, the sound of gentle breathing. It turned into a chaotic, wild rhythm, like a battlefield at night. His ferocity is so ruthless that there is no escape. You can't reason with a man who's out of control. There is no place to hide from the fierce storm he unleashed. His traces covered me, leaving me untouched. At dawn, I finally pushed the lunatic away. Put on your clothes hastily and run away. Later at the police station, Ethan's secretary came to see me. She looked uneasy. Miss Warren, you don't look well. What happened last night? Thinking back to the embarrassing scene when I ran away in a hurry. I wish the ground would swallow me whole. Awkwardly, I changed the subject. Can we speed this up? I need to go back. When I left the room, Ethan was already asleep. Fortunately, the situation has not gotten any further out of control. After I finished my statement to the police, I hope this ordeal will pass. Just a few hours later, since what happened that night, Lin Honshoa has been detained by police. William Song may not have heard the news yet. At the same time, their carefully planned scandal has begun to spread. Online, Ethan Carter is suspected of cheating with a waitress. Widely circulated on the internet, photos of Ethan and Lin Honshoa entering and exiting the hotel room is clearly presented. Within half an hour, this topic soared to the top of the hot search list. The internet is full of vicious comments. Men are really trash. Vivian Warren just announced her marriage. Then Ethan hit her in the face with this. Divorce him. He doesn't deserve her. I was about to post a clarification, but my manager grabbed my hand, etc. If you don't have any evidence, just say so. People will think you're just swallowing your anger. Covering for Ethan. Police will issue a statement by noon. Around 5:30, I was exhausted. I dragged my tired body back to the room. The curtains are not drawn yet. The space is dimly lit. I froze in my tracks when I noticed something strange. The bed is empty. Ethan is missing. Panic surged in my heart, and I stood there in a daze. After a while, a hot body pressed against my back. Hug me tight. Ethan's low, hoarse voice came from behind me. Where did you go last night? I was caught off guard. What? He asked again. His voice was trembling, but unusually calm. Vivian, where did you go last night? I didn't go anywhere. I stammered. Ethan pushed me down on the bed. His red eyes glared at me with an intense pain. It twisted my heart. His whole body was shaking, as if suppressing something unbearable. Vivian, doesn't your heart ache? If you hate me so much, let me die. Why do you humiliate me like this? My mind went blank. How did I humiliate you? Sleeping with me is disgusting. His words are like a dagger. Ignite the desperation in his voice. Ethan smiled bitterly. You drugged my drink. Sent someone to defile me. Ruin my reputation and plan to divorce me. So do you want me dead, Vivian? His lip is still hurt from where I bit him last night. And his messy appearance makes him look like a totally wronged person. My eyes quickly turned to his phone. I saw this title dominate the trending searches. Ethan thought he slept with someone else last night. My expression twisted into disbelief and frustration. Wait. Listen to me. Before I can explain, my skirt got torn when I moved, revealing the traces he left on me. Ethan froze, his eyes wide open in despair. When he accepted the evidence, he leaned down. His lips rubbed against mine, trembling. His voice was hoarse and pleading. Who did this? Vivian, please tell me. Not only did he forget how he spent the night, torture me, but now he thinks I cheated on him. The frustration and humiliation I suppressed all night. It exploded. I burst into tears. Crying in front of him, Ethan froze, totally unprepared for my outburst. Before he could react, I kicked him several times. You bastard. Who else but you? His shocked expression turned into shock. When my words are recorded, a red handprint soon appeared on his face. After I slapped him, he sat there motionless, as if trying to comprehend what just happened. The despair in his eyes began to fade, replaced by a flicker of something. Hope. Doubt. Perhaps it was relief. Slowly, the light in his eyes became brighter. I cried and threw my phone at him. Look, on top. I secretly took photos and videos of him. Last night. I had intended to keep them as personal keepsakes. Maybe even use them to tease him later.
Video shows chaotic scene. After he broke free, it caught my cries for mercy, and his unremitting enthusiasm. Ben's hands trembled as he watched. His eyes were filled with panic. Vivian, I thought it was a dream. He stammered. A dream. He suddenly thought of. My anger is boiling. What does dream mean? I can't control my temper anymore. I glared at him and shouted. Get out. Don't you want a divorce? Go ahead. You're a heartless bastard. In my anger, I kicked Ethan so hard that he almost fell off the bed. He sat there blankly, as if trying to understand the full weight of my words. He took a moment to digest it all. Yanli, Ethan caught my kicking leg, and held me tightly in his arms. I will take responsibility, he said firmly. Ignore my struggles. As long as we don't get divorced, you can do whatever you want. A few hours later, I open the door with a majestic gesture. Go out with confidence. The people waiting in the corridor turn your attention to me immediately. Ethan looks impeccable in his tailored suit, following closely behind. His tall stature exudes quiet authority. Reporters swarmed in immediately. Is this true? Someone shouted. Mr. Carter, is it true that you were having an affair with a waitress behind Miss Warren's back? Ethan remained silent, but his dark eyes only look at me. It seemed like he didn't hear the questions at all. He shook my hair casually, and covered my mouth in pretend surprise. Seriously, these days, even married couples, booking a hotel room becomes a topic of gossip. For all of you, I say with a smile, for your information, last night's people, detained by police. Please wait for the official announcement. Their endless questions give me a headache. Ethan's cold eyes swept across the crowd. Then he covered my ears with his hands. Pull me out of this mess. His team stepped in to stop the journalists. Let us leave without interruption. When we got on the bus, he shook Ethan's hand off. He sat down with a smug look on his face, feeling a small victory, but there is still a lingering feeling. Something is missing. Ethan sat quietly beside me, surprisingly obedient, although he was close to losing control. Just a few hours ago, I raised my hand and wiggled my fingers deliberately. Don't you think my thumb and index finger, a few rings are missing from the middle and pinky fingers? Do you think anyone could be kind enough to give me some? Ethan's expression froze. Avoid my gaze, he muttered. I'll buy it for you right away. I leaned towards him, smiling mischievously. Ethan, I said sweetly. He swallowed hard, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down. Close your eyes briefly. Well, he whispered. I love you, I whispered. He didn't push me away this time. Instead, his eyes softened. He looked at me, his tone firm and sincere. I love you too. Later, as the relevant parties, Dunn and I went to the police station. After investigating the matter, the authorities issued an official statement. Lin Hongwei was temporarily detained, and will face charges. The news quickly spread online, provoked heated discussions. Some people can't help but criticize. I can't believe Vivian would cover for someone like this. Who would want a dirty man like Ethan? Others also echoed sarcastically. They might just be using each other for business. Maybe they are playing their own game behind the scenes. Go home, and we walked in the door. I was chatting with Ethan. Ignore the nonsense on the internet. People just like to chat, but none of this matters. Don't take it to heart. In my previous life, after Ethan's death, the internet is full of slanderous comments about him, yapperated by William's song. Things escalate to the point of sabotage, or oil on Ethan's grave. The memory of that disaster makes me anxious. I reached for his phone. Log out of your account. Don't check them for a few days. Before I could finish, Ethan hugged me tightly. The villa was dark, and the silence of the night seems to stretch infinitely. His voice broke the silence, full of raw vulnerability. Vivian, my body belongs to you. Don't abandon me. First, Ethan dropped his tough exterior. Take his heart completely. My chest aches and my eyes are filled with tears. I buried myself in his arms. Ethan, I have a story. Do you want to hear it? He told him everything. About our misfortunes in past lives. About Williamson's betrayal. About Ryan and my history. And who he needs to be wary of. But when it's all over. I was silent. Ethan listened intently. Finally, he asked, in a low voice, how did I die? Curled up in his arms. I'm shaking all over, and the memory of that nightmare overwhelms me. You were pushed off a cliff. William lied to you that I was at the top of the mountain. On your way up, someone applied your brakes. You were thrown out of the car. I started sobbing, holding the cold fingertips. You didn't even grab the last branch. That moment, Ethan, your death has haunted me ever since. This is a nightmare I can't escape. I described the situation when I arrived at the scene. See the wrecked car, scattered dirt, nail marks on the ground. He had persisted. Every night I imagine the pain he must have felt, falling from such a height. This must be very hurtful. Ethan gently stroked my back, hissed my forehead gently. Enough. Let's stop here tonight. I was unwilling to give up and grabbed his arm. Remember what I told those people, but you have to be careful. His eyes darkened and filled with an enchanting warmth. Silly girl, he whispered. You already know them. I was stunned. But who manages such a huge business empire? Impossible to forget. The files I collected with great effort. He just glanced at the document. Before the end. This is fake. But why did he see through it in this life, rather than at the end? Feeling my confusion, Ethan sighed. He lowered his gaze and held me. Vivian, he said calmly, in this world, the only person I'd die for is you. If you ask me, I'll give up struggle. Tears streamed down my face, cold and heavy. I stood up suddenly and looked at Ethan blankly. You will never let Ethan What if someone pretends to be mean? Ryan, I whispered. My voice must have given something away, because Ethan's expression immediately became tense. I repeated, It's Ryan. I quickly stood up and reached for my phone. Before I can do anything, Ethan grabbed my hand. He looked at me anxiously. Vivian, he said hesitantly, you promised me that you would always be by my side. I was so angry inside. I yelled at that damn Ryan. I want to settle accounts with him. He and his idiot brother screwed me over badly. Ethan was stunned. There was a sharp light flashing in his dark eyes. A few minutes later, he held me tight in his arms and I was shaking with anger. Even though I exploded, there was a faint smile on his lips. Enough, calm down, he whispered, and I trembled in frustration in his arms. Tears streamed down my face. I was deceived. He must have said something to you. That bastard. Ethan lowered his head. Gently, he put his face in the crook of my neck. His voice was soft but firm as he responded. Yeah, he's a jerk. This popular online scandal was finally suppressed. Lin Han China disappeared without a trace. And Ethan revealed that William's song. Underground money laundering activities. In North City, dirty money comes in, clean money comes out. Everything went well. No wonder William is like this. The impact on my past life. Across the black market. And legal circles. Relaxed. I sat in the sunny restaurant. Ethan looked at me with an unreadable expression. His dark eyes are warm, full of light. It seems to surround me. Vivian, he suddenly called out. His voice is low. I was stunned, caught off guard. There was an unexpected gentleness in his tone. Meet his gaze. There's nothing I can do. I think about the last few nights. We spent time together. My face turned red. I stammered, my heart beating faster. Why did you suddenly call me like this? I will definitely win this time, Ethan said firmly, chin on hand. I approached with a playful smile. My fingers play with his collar. Mr. Carter, you need my help? Evans Adams apple bobbed. He swallowed. Grabbed my wrist. He looked at me intently. How can you help me? I whispered my plan. His face darkened immediately. No, he said firmly, his tone firm. I climbed onto his lap and straddled him. Don't you think Ryan's resources are suspiciously good? Ethan's expression was still tense. His determination is unwavering. He continued because he knew he needed to hear this. Ryan and I both grew up in an orphanage. I was adopted by your mentor, and was sent abroad to study music, enduring the strict discipline of adoptive parents, achieving success. Ryan made his debut at the peak of his career, endless opportunities. He even won the Best Actor award in his first year. I always thought it was luck, but now I know his relationship with William. Songs. Everything has meaning. Ethan remained silent. His jaw set. Seeing his resistance, I smiled and whispered, business could be your domain. But, when it comes to the entertainment industry, Mr. Carter, I know the situation better than you do. Let me get close to Ryan. This is the best way to deal with him. Absolutely not. Ethan suddenly. His tone was firm. Get closer. I rested my head on his chest and smiled sweetly. How can I feel safe having a baby with you, though this threat still exists? Ethan's eyes widened slightly. Hey child. I kissed him gently on the lips. Don't you want children? Don't you want to give them a safe and happy future? If we had a daughter, and you bear it, let her grow up in a dangerous world. His expression softened suddenly. But then his eyes turned serious. I won't allow it, he said firmly. You won't get close to him. We reached an agreement. Ethan finally realized. It cornered him. His voice became deeper. Evian, meet my firm gaze. He finally admitted. Okay. I'll agree, but only if you come back to me every night, the night before my father's birthday party. I called Ryan. His phone rang for a long time. When he finally picked up, his voice was steady and low. Vivian, you finally decided to call me. I pretend to cry. My voice trembles. Ryan, you are right. Ethan is such a jerk. I shouldn't help him. I regret it cost for me. The so-called bastard. She's peeling leeches for me. Hearing what I said, he clenched his fingers tightly. The flesh is bruised. Ryan's voice softened. I'm glad you've regained your sanity. We have known each other since childhood. Would I lie to you? I know, I replied, biting the. When I did this, I made a point of licking his fingertips. His hand froze in my draft. I looked at him with satisfaction, before switching back to mobile. See you tomorrow. As expected, I didn't have any fun that night. Instead, I cried as Ethan dragged me into the bedroom. My father was a professor at a famous business school. In his youth, and many of his students, a huge success. Of course, his birthday party was a big one. Williamson was also one of the invited guests. For face, I went home alone the night before. My parents looked visibly disappointed, and I don't have Ethan. Vivian, my mother asked cautiously, how are you and Ethan? For years, Ethan and I had a cold war in our marriage. Their biggest worry. Steel myself, I answered calmly. As usual, on the day of the banquet, our relationship has once again become the focus of gossip. Ethan greeted my parents with his usual politeness. Communicate with guests easily, chatting with business people. Standing under the light of the second-floor balcony, gold mermaid dress. I watched him from a distance. He looked very eye-catching in his well-tailored suit. Exudes quiet confidence and composure. As he interacted with the crowd, passed through him. Williamson smiled. His tone was full of sarcasm. Mr. Carter, you are really ruthless in business. Showed up at the last second and snatched my deal. Is this what you call a heroic act? Ethan chuckled. Everything is fair in business. You and I both know that there are no saints in this field. My eyes landed on Ethan's profile, temporarily lost in thought. Until someone calls my name. Miss Warren. I turned around and saw a guest waving at me from below. The crowd followed their gaze. When they noticed me, they exclaimed, "Don't stop talking immediately." When he looked at me, his eyes darkened. His eager eyes swept across my face, along my neck. Makes my ears burn more. Panic. I walked down the stairs with my head tilted slightly, under his gaze. I walked towards Ryan, who was waiting on the side. William's song laughs. His tone was mocking. Successful in career, but unlucky in love. It seems Miss Warren prefers younger, better-looking type. I didn't dare look back at Ethan. I cursed William's song 800 times in my heart. Does he know how much trouble this is? A comment like this will make me. Ryan seems ready to taunt Ethan further, but I grabbed his arm and hissed, "Shut up." Years ago, Ryan and I used to play outside in the little garden. After all this time, it is still lush and vibrant. Watching Ryan digging in the soil, I asked directly, "What is your relationship with William's song?" Ryan froze, his back stiff. "Did Ethan tell you?" Before he recovered, I slapped him on the back of the head twice. "You have a rich brother, but you didn't tell me. Are you an idiot? Seriously, are you stupid?" Ryan looks completely bewildered. The cunning light in his eyes disappeared. "Vivian," he said cautiously. He glared at him, my face full of anger. "If I knew your brother was rich," I said firmly, "I will not marry Ethan." Ryan's expression didn't change. He stared at me for a while. There was a faint smile in his charming eyes. "No," he replied, "but you can't marry my brother either. I would rather you stay with me forever." Memories of my past life flashed before my eyes. After Ethan's death, Ryan has squatted before Ethan's grave and said the same thing. And my heart was broken at that time. He pushed his hand away. "Not long after, I died in a car accident. The spring sun is warm, but I feel cold inside." I forced myself to ask in a relaxed tone, "What if I disagree?" Ryan still has a smile on his pretty face, but the teardrop mole under his eyes makes his smile look even more evil. "Then I'll just bury you," he said in a joking tone. The creepy feeling of uneasiness creeps up my spine, leave me speechless. Suddenly, Ryan covered his stomach, laughed till tears came out. "Did I scare you?" he teased Vivian. "You are such an idiot. Don't call me next time." "Your brother is really rich, but you didn't give me his money. You still think I'll be with you? You must be crazy." Ryan keeps digging. His tone is casual. "If you really want it, I can get it for you. It's not that I can't make money like him." My hands clenched into fists. I took a deep breath. "Force yourself to let go temporarily. Let's stop here today," I said to hide my frustration. "Calm down." He looked up and saw Ian, looking at me with a thoughtful expression. "What?" I snapped. He laughed. "Aren't you curious about how I make money?" "Not interested." I pouted, waving him off. "What are you going to give me now?" He handed me a small clay figurine. Its surface is still covered with dirt. The workmanship is a bit rough, that his facial features are strikingly similar to mine. Ryan explains, "I made this before my debut. I told myself that if I became famous one day, I'll dig it out for you. Why didn't you give it to me earlier?" I asked. Ryan smiled faintly. "The clay figures I made when I was a child. Worthless. Compared to something made by a celebrity. Right? I'm worried you'll think it's cheap." I was just about to tell him that it was a gift from a friend. Whatever the value, it is always precious to me. But the memory of Ryan's strange behavior in my previous life let me swallow my words. I just carefully put the figurine away and said, "It's getting late. Let's go back." He replied. By then, the older guests had gone to bed early, leaving the second half of the party for young people, and Ryan chats with others. Made upstairs to the bedroom. Short break. As soon as I entered the door, I was pressed against the door. Lythan's voice was low and full of jealousy as he growled, "What were you doing?" And feel the strong possessiveness emanating from him. I couldn't help laughing. My voice became playful. Guess his response is a domineering and passionate kiss. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Break this moment. "Vivian, are you in there?" Ryan shouted in a clear voice. Then his cell phone rang. I was startled and whispered anxiously, "Ethan, this is Ryan. Here he comes." Ethan's rough, calloused hands moved boldly. "Remove any barriers between us." Moment. He pulled me into his warm embrace. His touch was relentless and intense. My eye gasped. My eyes widened in disbelief. "Ethan, are you crazy?" Ian's still calling me, but when I reached for it, Ethan snatched it away and turned it off. Without hesitation, his teeth grazed the back of my neck. Totally lost my cool. Still thinking about him. He taunted, "You are such a bad woman." I bit my lip and couldn't help but retort, "Bad girl, but you still love me." My voice is intermittent, and as his movements became more intense, I was so grateful at that moment for sound priming of rooms. Soon, Ryan gave up looking for me and left. Ethan's deep and seductive voice passed through my ears. Like a stone jumping on a calm lake. Create endless ripples. On April 21, my left lipstick marks on Ethan's shirt. He didn't contact me. It was May 13th. I'm wearing my new skirt, tight against my hips. eye-catching and bold, but Ethan didn't even look at me. Later that night, in the dark, I opened my eyes wide in shock, embarrassment and anger mixed together. Ethan, you bastard. You still let you read my diary. I hissed. He locked me in his room. Open the diary on the bed, even if he doesn't intend to read it. Can't ignore. Oh, no, it suddenly occurred to me. I wrote about him last night. Something embarrassing. But I forgot to put it away. This morning. Khan seemed more agitated than usual. Take me to the diary. He grabbed my chin tightly. He whispered the order. His tone was passionate. Read it to me. Vivian. My face turned red. He shook my head firmly. No chance. Vivian. He whispered. His tone was slightly compulsive. You think I'm too old for you, don't you? His possessiveness erupted again. Refused to let me off the hook. Am I not enough for you? Is my body unsatisfactory to you? And I was speechless and kept shaking my head. Not like that. It's not like that at all. But Ethan doesn't seem to believe it. Instead, he kept putting pressure on me, test me again and again until I finally burst into tears. Through his actions and soft kisses, he sought answers from me until I had no choice but to admit humiliation, the embarrassing secrets I wrote in my diary. Reading those shy confessions aloud makes me extremely ashamed. Hassan couldn't help but chuckle. This just makes me angrier. I scolded him with a trembling voice and tears streaming down my face. How dare you laugh? He grasped my fingers with his steady hand and smiled softly. I'm laughing at myself, he said. His tone was surprisingly gentle, just like the clouds finally dispersed. I can see the moon. Fortunately, Ethan was smart enough not to destroy my lamp. The golden dress. When I appeared at the party again, my face was cold, obviously filled with suppressed anger. On the other hand, Ethan, there were faint handprints on his face, but he said nothing. The guests watched us carefully, feeling nervous, but I dare not ask any questions. My mother sighed. Vivian, in marriage, both parties need to compromise. Recalling Ethan's shameless behavior, I glared at him. I can't compromise at all. Apparently I'm the one being wronged. But he is here. Act innocent. Performing before the elders. This is so infuriating. Ever since Ethan found my diary, I feel very embarrassed. From that day on, I moved back to my parents' house. My promise to Ethan, about returning to him every night. Out of the window. This time, Ethan was surprisingly smooth. Keep silent about this matter. Time passed so quickly that I didn't realize. Autumn is coming. Ethan's birthday is in a few days. I started planning a surprise for him. After some effort, I reconnected with an old classmate. So I heard you to name the stars. You mean the stellar naming service? Yes. I want the stars close to each other. Got it. Send me details later. Once arrangements are finalized, I can relax and wait for Ethan's birthday. He has been busy. Business trips around the country. Often takes a long time to respond to messages, or doesn't respond at all. At the same time, he reconnected with Ryan. He introduced me to a few SARMs, family members. To my shock, I found how deep their influence penetrates. All walks of life. Ryan, the boy I knew who used to love playing, and now you can easily move between them. But his demeanor was calm and calculating. He is no longer the person I remember. I managed to collect a lot of evidence. But William's song is very cautious. Never appeared in any visible capacity. You want to go further. But Ethan sternly warned me not to do that. Leave the rest to me, he said firmly. Get the evidence. William's business suffered heavy losses. The tragedy and pain in my past life. The loss may never happen again. I use stillness as an excuse. Temporarily cut off contact with Ryan. Today is Ethan's birthday. Early morning. Positive pregnancy test with 2 clear lines. I called him. Remember to go home tonight. I have a surprise for you. Ethan is unusually quiet today. I keep talking about random things. But he only listened. His response is rare. Finally, I have nothing to say. A moment of silence. Through the headphones, I can hear his steady breathing. What's wrong with you? I laughed and joked. Why don't you speak? After a pause, Buffin's deep voice came. Vivian, can you wish me a happy birthday? Caught off guard, I asked. Don't you know how to be romantic? I've been planning tonight's surprise for a long time. He smiled softly. Warm and rich sound. I can't wait. I can't wait tonight. I insist stubbornly. Hear my determination. Ethan laughed again, but didn't press the issue. I put the pregnancy test stick into a small gift box. Whisper, this surprise is definitely unforgettable. Then I added softly, you love you, Ethan. The word came out unexpectedly. I blushed, and quickly hung up the phone. My parents were very excited about my pregnancy. My mother was overjoyed and immediately held my hand. Let's go to the hospital to check you out. Before she dragged me out the door, my father stopped her. Ethan just called. He reminded her. Let's get the family doctor. Realizing something, her expression softened. Okay, let's call Drive Zhu. Dr. Zhu, I have been taking care of my parents' health for many years. Someone they completely trust. He watched me grow up. After checking my pulse, he stroked his beard and smiled. This could be true, but you should go to the hospital to confirm. The house is full of joy. We invited Drive Zhu to stay for lunch. Then I went upstairs and took a nap. Before I fell asleep, my phone lit up. It was a message from Ryan. even though I feel sleepy. I caught a glimpse of Vivian's words. We promised to be together forever. When I woke up, I found myself in the back of a moving truck. The strong smell of diesel makes me sick. A big hand gently strokes my hair, when Ryan's cold voice came from the front seat. William and Ethan are tied up, watching each other fight over scraps like dogs. By tonight, neither of them will survive. It took me a while to understand what was going on. I'm with Ryan. Seeing me open my eyes, he smiled gently. You woke up. Why didn't you tell me about your pregnancy sooner? I trembled and broke free from his grasp, then back into the corner of the van. Why I am here, I request. Ryan's half-face is hidden in shadow. His tone was lazy but full of malice. Thun thought he had everything under control. If it weren't for Drive, a Jew and his dying daughter, I can't see you at all. He glared at him. My body tenses with fear. Ryan suddenly grabbed my chin. Pull me closer. A sinister smile appeared on his face. How dare you dump me for that asshole, Ethan? Guess how I'm going to punish you, Vivian. I felt nauseous and started to retch. Cover my belly. Ryan's face turned gloomy. Stop the car, he yelled. The truck door opens. Fresh air rushes in. I stumbled, grabbed the curb railing while vomiting, until I feel faint. Distant city lights, blurred into scattered dots. On the horizon, the leaves rustle in the breeze. As I looked around, I recognized this scene. My legs are weak. This is the mountain. In my past life, Ethan died here. I have walked this road countless times.